moment we waited for. Everything we want is right
Artlist.io.
here. We gon' give them what they came for. We gon' take it up from last year. Shoot 'em my shot, boy, I'm long range. Me and the team on the same thing. Stayed down, never switched up. Only thing changed was the game. I'm in the zone now. Nothing can change what we on now. When I pull up, know it's going down. Foot on the gas, ain't no slowing down.
Music licensing reimagined.
Kick down the doors, they won't let me in. Taking no L's, yeah, I gotta win. Watch me kick down the doors, they won't let me in. Who running the game now? Foot on the gas, can slow down. No, my team, we holding it down. We know we running it now. Watch the game change. Watch the game change.
Welcome to Quips and Riddles, the hilarity that is my life, with Alex Wright. I am so glad to be back for this inaugural episode of season 2. I think it's very important for this first episode to talk about truth, because this season we're going to be dropping every Wednesday, and it's important that you understand truth and kind of what I mean by truth and the effects of truth, right? When someone sits you down and they say, hey, I'm going to be real with you. I want to be honest. I want to tell you the truth. You automatically get a cringe, right? You get a feeling like something's about to happen that's going to shock you to your core. Something's going to be said that's going to hurt your feelings, break you down, make you cry. It's going to be negative. Somewhere along the line, we have only equated truth with negativity and truth with pain. And what we're going to talk about this episode is that isn't necessarily true. And they're the very destructive reason behind that. And I want to get this out, and I want us to talk about this, so when we get into further episodes and we start bringing some positivity and bringing some affirmation to you, I want you to be able to receive it, right? So as always, these things are about stuff that I've learned in my travels, from personal to professional. And if something I say or do strikes a chord with you, like, follow, subscribe, support. And again, not professing to be a mental health counselor in any way, but I do have some expertise when it comes to some of the work that we're going to be talking about in later episodes. But this is more of a guy who's experienced a lot of stuff and going to relate it to you. Eat the fish, eat the meat, and throw away the bones. So, truth isn't always brutal. We just think it should be. Somewhere along the way, we decided that if something doesn't hurt, it can't be real. So, if you're singing a song and someone's like, oh my God, you're terrible. Or you make food and someone tastes it and they're like, oh man, this is bad. Or you have an outfit on and someone says, that is the worst outfit I've ever seen in my life. You're not going to necessarily like it, but you're going to believe that they're telling you the truth, right? You may change your outfit. You may, put some more seasoning into the food or do something else. And there are times when those brutal truths are effective and are real. But that's not the only way truth can be packaged. See, if it comforts us, encourages us, or gives us hope, we get suspicious. Same scenario. Man, that's an awesome outfit. Oh man, this food is so good, make you want to slap your mama. You really can do that dance, or you sing great, or that was an awesome report. You're automatically thinking something's up. They're blowing smoke up your tailpipe. They're not being honest with you. They're playing games, because truth doesn't come like that in our heads. Truth only comes with pain. See, and then pain becomes our proof. If it doesn't hurt, then it's not the truth. See, and when pain becomes credibility, you have an issue. Because then you put yourself around things and people who give you pain, right? You put yourself in a hostile, brutal work environment, and then you wonder why you're burnt out. You wonder why you hate your job. You hate to be there. You hate to go to that church. You hate to be around those cousins, those family. But you got to be around them. You have to be there. That's the best place for you, because at least they keep it real. At least they tell you the truth. But if the only truth they tell you hurts you and always hurts you, are they telling you the truth really? Are they trying to better you and help you really? Or do they just get off on causing you pain? And when that pain becomes credibility, we say things like this. We don't say truth, right? We say the hard truth. I'm going to be brutally honest. This is real talk. I'm going to keep it real. Straight, no chaser. And nonsense. Things like that, right? Which tells you that what they're about to say is going to be more of a punch in the face than an encouragement. Those phrases all mean the same thing, right? It's going to sting. And we trust it because it stings. But remember, pain isn't a lie detector. It's just familiar. We're used to that. And one thing that people like is predictability. That's why folks stay in bad relationships. At least, they say it's the devil you know, right? And the truth that bites and cuts and beats us down is the devil we know. We won't even imagine that there could be truths out there, or good truths, or something that we should put stock in, right? And we say things like, oh, I don't want to be delusional, or, I want to make sure that I'm on the right track and I'm doing this, right? And it's like, there are a million ways to do that without hitting yourself over the head with a beaten stick or allowing someone else to do it. And because we've been taught that so long, that it's just familiar. And things that are familiar become right to us. Right? That's how racism works. That's how sexism works. Right? That's how bigotry works. It becomes right to us. This is how it is. This is the way it is. And we have safety and security in that predictability. Now, because if you grew up bracing for impact, good news feels like a setup. You did great, and you're waiting for the but. You had a great song, but that was a great report, but here's a few notes, right? And what are we taught in business? Compliment sandwiches, right? So we begin with a compliment, go with an improvement, and then end with a compliment. But the problem is, most of the time, those compliments are, one, disingenuous, right? And we feel that. So we're waiting for, just give me the part you really mean. Okay? Two, sometimes those compliments aren't disingenuous, but we've just been told to focus on the negative. So all the good things that people say to us go over our heads. We don't remember it. You can walk out the house and 100 people tell you you're beautiful, and one person says you're ugly. You are going to think about that person calling you ugly the rest of the day. And that's weird, right? It's weird because you have all this proof, right? And think about it. In any other part of life where you have a whole lot of information that says something is right, and then a little information that says that same thing is wrong, you're going to say, no, it's overwhelming that this is right, and this is what we're going to go with. And we apply that to everything but ourselves. And we apply that to everything but good news and compliments. Pain doesn't make something true. It just makes it recognizable. Now, the reason encouraging truth, or truth that encourages you, feels fake, because it comes with responsibility, right? If the truth is you can heal, things can change, this isn't permanent, then you have to decide what to do next. If the truth is your community is doomed and it's always going to be bad living conditions, and that's just the reality of it, and that reality sucks and it hurts, but it's just the truth. You know what you can do then? Continue to do nothing. You can stay on your couch, watch your TV, eat your chips, whatever you do, have no action, have no responsibility. It's the easy way out. But if you believe that something can be good, if you believe that you can be good and that you can do good, then you actually have to do good, right? And because a lot of times we don't want to do something, we dismiss it. We call it naive or toxic positivity. The world don't work like that. It ain't like that. You can't do that. What's wrong with you? That's just not real life. That's just not real life. It's not real life because that's the stance people take on it. Nothing changed without someone first saying that it could change and someone else believing that it could change. So we reject encouraging news. We reject hopeful things, not because it's false, but because it's demanding. Also, there's self-esteem, imposter syndrome, and the fear of truth that elevates. What do I mean by that? Low self-esteem, that's easy enough, right? I don't believe I'm anything. I don't believe I can be something. So don't tell me anything nice. You know, it happens in relationships, right? Sometimes folks are so beat down that when you come and you try to love them and you tell them they're good and they're worth something, they can't take that. They go back to the person that tells them they're nothing and they'll never be anything. And they're always going to be worthless because that's comfortable, right? And that's the devil they know. This new person saying good things and all that kind of stuff, you got to trick up your sleeve. You're trying to do something that's crazy, right? Now, imposter syndrome is a little deeper than that, right? It deals with self-esteem, but not loud. It's kind of quiet, right? You don't think that you're worthless, but you're not quite convinced that you're capable either. So it's not believing that you're bad, it's believing you don't belong where you are. So when the truth says, yes, you earn this, you're qualified, you're actually good at this, you receive it as a mistake. Oh, they just don't know me yet. Oh, they just haven't discovered or uncovered who I am yet. Right? And then sometimes you're feeling what other folks around you are thinking. Right? But you can't put their weakness, their bias, their bigotry, their nonsense on yourself. You know? They didn't do it. That's right. They couldn't do it. That doesn't mean you can't do it. They don't want you to be somewhere. That doesn't mean you're not supposed to be somewhere. They don't think you can do it. That doesn't mean you can't do it. They don't think you're qualified, but you're here. Right? And walk in to the place like you own it, like you're supposed to be there, and move forward. Imposter syndrome teaches us to distrust affirmation and only accept criticism as credible. If the truth is that you're capable of more, stronger than you think, powerful beyond measure, then the fear isn't inadequacy. The fear is exposure. There's a quote that says our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate, it's that we are powerful beyond measure. And again, if that's the case, you have to get up, move, and it's easier to hide, right? I tell my son, you're gifted, but just because you're gifted doesn't mean you are going to be great. Greatness comes when you exercise your gift, you perfect your gift, you work in it, right? And then you become great. But it's easier, right? Because I'm telling him that he may not want to be gifted. Can I just be, regular Joe, or can I be whatever? Because that way I don't have to work that hard, right? And so my youngest son embraces being gifted. My oldest son wants to hide how smart he is. Because if he hides how smart he is, then I'm not going to push him. He doesn't think I'm going to push him. I don't know why he thinks that. He's been on this earth 16 years, and I've been pushing him 16 years. But I push him because I know what's in there, and I know what he's capable of. And I know it's easier to hide in the background. And a lot of people are hiding in the background because they don't want to be seen. They don't want exposure, right? And, light is scarier than darkness. If you're hiding in the dark, they can't see you. Darkness lets you hide. Light asks you to be seen. And trust me, I understand why you don't want to be seen, right? Because when you're seen and you're out there, there's a target on you, right? And some of the same people who encouraged you when you were not being seen are the same ones that try to pull you back down into obscurity. And I know a lot of you, some of you are afraid of that. But here's what would happen. Here's what happens, and understand this. People don't try to take down someone who's failing. They try to take down someone who's ascending. So the fact that people are trying to grab you and pull you, right, that means you're ascending and you're doing something. All right, so take courage in that. Your growth exposes other people's avoidance. Your rise becomes a mirror they didn't ask for. So they minimize you. They nitpick. They question your motives, credentials, and character. What they're really saying is stay small. It's safer here. It's more comfortable here. Like you see people in the newspaper and you can't wait to bring somebody down and have negative comments, right? We just had a story where a athletic director and a vice principal had a DWI. And I get the seriousness of that, and but I don't get what that has to do with her being a athletic director, because she wasn't drunk at school, she wasn't drunk during a school function, right? She made a private time mistake, but she was in the public eye, right? Somebody somewhere is looking at her thinking that she doesn't deserve to be where she is. So here's the opportunity to knock her down a peg, cut her down to size. She's made a mistake, so let's, right. And what I want to tell you too about truth and about hiding, when you accept encouragement and you elevate, that doesn't mean you're perfect. And it doesn't mean you're not going to make mistakes. Okay? And when you do make a mistake, don't let the imposter syndrome or that low self-esteem creep back up. Because what it tries to do is, okay, you made a mistake. See, you weren't anything to begin with. You were terrible to begin with. And now this is just proof of your inability to do A, B, C, D, or E, right? And that's not the case, right? And you have to give yourself grace. You have to give yourself mercy, right? You have to get back up on the bike, on the wheel, right? And make things happen again. And those detractors are going to tell you the same thing. But you are unfulfilled hiding. You know when you sit down, when it's just you, that you could be doing more, and you're supposed to be more, and you're supposed to be doing something. And I think that's a chief cause of like drug abuse and alcoholism and things like that. A lot of people not operating their gifts, and they're trying to cope, right? But just remember, like, your growth exposes other people's avoidance. Because instead of saying, wow, if they did it, I could do it, they're saying they shouldn't be doing that. It reminds me of that part in Django when he's like, there is an N-word on a horse. There is. What is he doing on that nag? Why is he up there? As opposed to, oh man, if he could be up there, where's my horse? Let me get a horse. As opposed to, who do you think you are? So I understand why people choose to hide. I understand why we want to accept only negative truths. But I want to encourage you to go and tell somebody some positive truths and accept positive truth for yourself and in your life. And the hats off moment. Hats off to the ones who told the truth, even when it didn't sound impressive. Hats off to those who choose growth over applause. Hats off to those who believe encouraging truth quietly. Believing painful truth is easy. Believing truth that asks you to rise and says that you are enough is brave. Maybe the truth isn't always terrible. Maybe we just learn to equate pain with credibility. And maybe the most radical truth right now is this: some things really can get better. You are enough. You can make a difference. You are talented. You deserve to be where you are and can even go further. And nothing I just said was untrue. Thanks for coming to Quips and Riddles with Alex Wright. Until next week.